Welcome to another Inspired Living TV episode of Behind the Brand, where we bring you amazing products that help you with your mind, body, and spirit, and the women who created them. And let's face it, in this crazy world, we're moms, we're entrepreneurs, we're sending kids off to college, who does not need a hug? And today I'm going to bring you, I have Charlie and Frankie with me today, as well as Marina Khidekel, who is the founder of Hugimals, that allows you to have this hug anytime, any place. But Marina, you're joining me from New York today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Okay, I gotta tell you, I've heard of weighted blankets before. I have never heard of weighted stuffed animals. Now, I have two small children. I have a 3 and an 8-year-old. And I have to tell you, Marina, when I unboxed these, I didn't want to give them to anyone. I just wanted to sit and hug them. They're really, they are amazing. How in the world, did you come up with this concept? Because of course we've heard of weighted blankets and the therapy that those can bring.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Carrie, you are not alone. We hear from a lot of parents who end up borrowing their kids' Hugimals for the long term and need more for the family. So you're absolutely not alone in that story, but I love it. So yeah, so I came up with the idea for myself. I am a health and wellness journalist by trade. I was an editor at Glamour, Cosmo, Women's Health, and I had a weighted blanket before they went viral, when they were still really only used in the special needs world. And at first I loved it, but it was just too hot and too smothering for me in the night, which a lot of other people say too. Some people love them, some people find them a little too hot, and I couldn't sleep with it. So I started using my partner Mike's arm as a weight to help ground me at night.
Here, honey, you don't need this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was where, but it worked for me, but it was not very comfortable for him. So he's like, you've got to find something else. I still went researching for other smaller weighted items for that same calming, grounding effect of a weighted blanket. I wanted to find a weighted stuffed animal that I would love, but I didn't love the ones out there. They were a little too bright and neon and maybe didn't have the features that I wanted. So I ended up creating Hugimals because they have, they're weighted all over. You see, I have Sam the sloth here.
Oh, they are. They're
weighted
arms.
in the arms. Their legs, their belly, their heads. So the effect that I wanted is for them to actually hug you back. And that's what I created because I couldn't find it out there.
Talk to me about that process. First of all, I love that you did that. I love innovation. I love these stories, and it's why I'm bringing them to the Inspired Living community. How did you go about it? So first of all, let's talk about the benefits of the weighted blanket. For people who don't know, why did they go viral? Why are they so beneficial?
Yeah, so the mechanism by which they work is called deep touch pressure therapy and sort of the scientific world. And that just means the extra weight. It works a little bit the same way when you get a bear hug from a loved one, or even some people love that weighted vest at the dentist. They find it kind of calming when they're there, or even the water pressure in a really strong shower. It's the same mechanism. So basically that stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, and that brings on a relaxation response from the body and tamps down a fight or flight response. So it, your brain releases all of these calming, happy neurotransmitters, as they're called, and you feel your body calming down under the weight. It feels very grounding. A lot of people say, it works so well in the special needs world because, a lot of people with special needs feel like they're kind of unanchored from the earth, and the weight is just physically calming. And a stuffed animal, is emotionally supportive and calming, which you don't get with a weighted blanket. So I wanted the best of both worlds.
You don't get the cuteness of Charlie and Frankie and the other ones that you have. So
you don't.
I will say, since 2020 and all the things we've endured as a nation, I am seeing mental health and mental wellness. It's becoming more mainstream. People are more aware, I would say, of mental health, and a lot of kids are suffering from anxiety and depression. And is this where a Hugimal could come in and support them with that?
Absolutely, Carrie. So we hear from so many customers saying this is a game changer for my child's anxiety levels, for their sleep. They're finally sleeping with this Hugimal on them,
Yeah.
And I will say Hugimals are age 2+, but they don't have a top limit. So they're for kids, teens, a lot of college students are now taking them to the dorms because they have a lot of anxiety away from home, and for adults and even older adults, Alzheimer's and dementia patients who they can't have a real pet, and that weight is really grounding for them. So absolutely, it has a calming, anxiety relieving effect. And also, if you hold the Huggimal on your chest, on your belly, on your lap, it actually can help you, one, sleep better. A lot of people find it helps them fall asleep. And two, weighted pressure is also known to help with focus and concentration. So it's a really great back to school tool for studying, for homework. These make great study buddies, and they just make great companions for any kind of stressful situation, the dentist, a road trip, travel, a new school,
the
a
day-to-day
divorce.
of life, girl. The day-to-day
The
of
day-to-day
life, right?
of life. We can all use a hug. So these
We
provide just that.
can. As you're talking, I'm thinking of just, my life. And of course, my children are younger. My sister's kids, most of them, I think 2 of them just left for college. And you're right, that anxiety and that fear of being alone. And then my sister, my younger sister, crazy as it is almost an empty nester. So this Huggimal,
Wow.
like the thought of the hug, whether you're a mom or you're a child, or like you said, someone suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, I mean, this is a gift that you could truly give at any time that would be such a benefit for someone. I love it, as you can tell. I'm a fan.
When you send a Huggimal, you are literally sending hugs. You could send flowers to someone those died for like the same amount. You could literally
Right.
send hugs to loved ones that they can turn to again and again. And it's kind of an ego boost because we hear, every time they hug a Huggimal, they tell me they think of me. So it's a little bit, it makes you look good, if you're the gifter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be the best aunt on the planet because everyone's getting Hugimals. Everyone's getting Hugimals.
Everyone's getting Hugimals.
Everyone's getting Hugimals. So when you created them, you were very aware and conscious with the muted colors, the neutral facial expressions, the gender neutral names. Talk to me about that process and why that was so important.
So I'm a journalist, so I wasn't about to create something without doing a ton of nerdy research. So I did a lot of research on everything from the fabric to the colors to the facial expressions, and I worked with a lot of psychologists, occupational therapists, pediatricians. I did the whole gamut because I wanted to perfect the details. Again, a journalist, I'm not just
yes. The detail oriented.
Yes. Yeah. So we landed on the weight. Hugimals are actually 4.5 pounds. And that's ideal for both kids and adults. The occupational therapists were saying, do not be afraid of weight. It'll help you, not hurt you. And you're right. So you'll notice they are not smiling intentionally. That is, they're neutral to support any emotion and a no judgment zone. So some, stuffed animals are constantly smiling. Sometimes you don't feel like smiling. So that's something I worked out with the psychologist. And I really wanted the colors to be super calming, so we based the colors on river stones. I was really inspired by the colors of river stones. I wanted to keep it natural, and super calming. So we used color psychology there. They're super soft.
They
I wanted something that was also
look at
tactile.
These cute faces.
Yes.
And
a lot of people are like, wait a
soft.
second. Yeah, we hear from people who come home from work and have their Huggimal and say, Sam is looking at me and telling me everything's going to be okay. His sweet little face is looking up. People sort of humanize them because they don't have that expression already there. So they could be, whatever you want. And one of the best parts is this is Velcro right here. So if you open it, you can actually remove the weighted insert and machine wash the outer plush.
Oh my gosh,
so that was a big thing for me. I wanted them to be machine washable.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Machine washable. That is great for anyone, right?
I was greedy. I wanted all the features. I wouldn't stop until I had everything I wanted.
So Marina, great product. Let's talk about your journey a little bit. So you were a very successful journalist in the health and wellness space pretty much your whole life. And in your 40s, you changed directions. I want to do a career change. Talk to me, what was that like for you?
Oh, it was all the things, I felt ready, but I also felt terrified.
Yeah.
As many of us do. I had known one thing. I was a media person. I was a content person. I was an editor. I was good at that. I knew how to do that. And then I went on, to be a chief content officer. Great. If you had asked me 10 years ago if I ever thought I would leave media to launch a product-based company and a stuffed animal, I would have said you're crazy.
But drinking some crazy juice. Yes.
Exactly. Life takes you in unexpected directions. And this is actually I see it as an extension of my previous career, and that as a journalist, I had a focus on mental health and wellness, always, because I was, grew up in an immigrant family. A lot of people, had a family where you couldn't really talk about mental health. It was, if you're not bleeding or dying, pick yourself up. What are you complaining about? That kind of situation. I always wanted to talk about mental health and help others talk about it. So that's what I did as a journalist and as a content person. And that is what I'm continuing to do with this brand.
What has surprised you along this journey? What have you found out about yourself? Or like, what have you just learned about business that has been eye-opening?
So many things, Terry. One of them is that you can learn. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur, be a founder. Never did I think that I would do that. I'd always worked for companies, for other people. But I'm sort of learning and having this advanced business school experience on the go. And that's actually how I prefer to learn by doing. So you can do it. Even if you thought you'd never be able to, you can do it. Surround yourself with people smarter than you who know how to do the things you may not know how to do.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
And move forward. As long as your idea is something you really believe in and other people really need, you can do it. The other thing that surprised me is, when I launched, and I announced that I launched, there were people that I expected to come out and sort of support, and they didn't. And other people that I never expected really rose up and shouted this from the rooftops and supported me and supported the brand and the product. And I never could have expected it. So I would just say, leave your expectations at the door of, who you think might support you and how you think it'll go. It'll work itself out and it'll be amazing, but it might not be exactly how you expected.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever how you expected.
Right.
And I love the story of you having this super successful career in journalism and making this major change in your 40s. And it's okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to do something else. You are not abandoning who you were. That has brought you into the business you are, focusing on mental health and wellness. And now you've created something that really should be in the hands of everyone who needs a hug, which I would say is everyone. So you say that you're customer obsessed. Talk to me. What does that mean? And how has that helped you grow your business?
I feel like if everyone needs to be customer obsessed, because who are you doing this for?
Right.
You want your customers to help guide you and be thrilled and delighted by what you're putting out. So I read every single customer review. I talk to customers. I write them back. I call them on the phone. I talk to them as much as I can. And it's actually helped us make little tiny improvements and changes in the product. And when you hear how your customers talk about your product, it really gives you perspective of how people are receiving it. And is it the way that you want or not? One thing I did before I launched was children's hospital pilot programs. We piloted these in children's hospitals around the country because I didn't want to launch something without knowing how they would be received. And so this is when I still had a full-time job. I was working on this behind the scenes. When I got that feedback from the hospital staffers about how much comfort and sensory support Hugimals were able to give to patients and families going through a really hard time, I was floored. And that's when I knew I had to quit my job and do this full-time.
That was some great R&D there. That's some great research and development.
Right.
And I also want to just bring to the attention that you didn't just stop what you were doing, quit your career, and go into Hugimals full time. Can you kind of talk to us about what that was like for you? How would it take a year or 2 years? Because I know there's a lot of women that might be working in corporate, or they have other, I call them investors, right? Full-time jobs that are helping them fund their dream project. And I just want to share, give us a little behind the scenes, Marina, of what that was like for you. Did you, were you working at night and weekends? How did you balance that in the beginning? You don't,
so
but
at
if
the
you
beginning,
did.
you don't really. I think the idea of balance is a sham. Sometimes I think it's just it makes us chase our own tails. We're never going to achieve perfect balance. So we shouldn't throw it around as some ideal.
It's a destination you never quite get to. Yeah.
Exactly. So a balance. But I had this idea. I'd never been a founder entrepreneur before, so I was just researching it sort of behind the scenes, and talking to people. And when I would go to gift and toy trade shows as a journalist, to sort of peek under the hoods of the big companies to see, is anyone making a nice one of these, and
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
was. And then I saw a white space. I still originally wanted to license the idea because I never thought I could be a founder. So I was actually working on this for 5 years before I
Wow.
launched behind the scenes. And I was, scared to leave my career, my full-time job. And long story, many ups and downs, but ultimately, when I got that hospital feedback about how much these worked, and the hospitals said they used them with their code bear patients, which I didn't know what that was. I asked, they said, we can't say code red over the loudspeaker when a patient needs extra intervention. So we say code bear, and we use these with them, and it calms those kids within minutes. That sent chills up my spine.
Yeah, it
And I
would.
was like, it's time to do this. So yeah, I think it's a little cliche, but you kind of know, when the time is right.
Yeah.
And for me, it was that. I was like, I can't do this behind the scenes anymore. I owe it to myself and this product and everyone who this could help to give it a go. So a lot of years of working behind the scenes. And I actually recommend that, you got to test, you got to make sure there's a market for your idea. And I say keep your job for as long as possible. It's absolutely doable to sort of do it as a side hustle on the side, and then you'll know.
Yeah, you will know. And it also comes down to trusting the knowing,
Yeah.
when it's right for you. And again, doing the research. This is my third company, Marina. And I think about in my 20s, if
Wow.
I would have done a little more research, if I would have taken the time, but being a
Right.
visionary, so many of us, we have an idea and it's like, I want to do it now. And it's like, well, do the R&D, take some time, do your development and research, and make sure you have a viable product, whether it's a physical product or a service-based business. Make sure there's a
Exactly.
need for it first, because you can waste a whole lot of time and money on creating something that people don't want or think they need. Like you think they need it, but you found a beautiful space and something so cozy and snuggly to fill it with, I should say. So what's coming up next for Hugimals? Do we have some other fun new creatures joining the clan?
Yes. So you have Frankie the cat. Frankie is our newest Hugimal. We had a lot of demand from cat lovers
A lot of
for a
cat
cat.
lovers were
And
like, you
so
better
a
give
lot of
me a
cat lovers out
cat.
there. They spoke very loudly. We heard them. And Frankie the cat is our newest Hugimal. So Frankie, like all of them, all the Hugimals, gender neutral. And Frankie has this beautiful sort of silvery blue fur that I just love. And super calming, super cute, like big cat head. It's just adorable. But we're also working on other types of products that aren't stuffed animals. I launched Hugimals in the toy world. They're a stuffed animal. I knew that they would read as a toy, but I created them for myself. I don't have children, love kids, but I needed this. And so I wondered if adults would come around to it. And now over 50% of our customers are adults buying Hugimals for themselves or for other adult friends. So that's
50%,
shocking.
by the way. It's a toy, and 50% of your ideal client, of your consumers, are adults. I love that.
Yeah. That's actually a huge trend of adults buying these cuddly comfort objects for themselves, like stuffed animals and other toys. It's called kidult, and the toy industry, they call it the kidult trend. And
Look
like
at
you said,
you.
people are feeling a lot of stress and anxiety. So why not go to something that is comforting and maybe a little bit nostalgic and that, brings you that joy and that comfort. But to answer your question, we are launching some other products that are not actually stuffed animals that any age could use. So I'm really excited to expand.
Well, Marina, I have to tell you, you have a big fan over here. And I know the whole
Thank
Inspired
you.
Living community right now is going to be like, I'm going to go and get me Charlie, Frankie. And then we have a couple others. We have the sloth.
Yeah, so this is Sam the sloth that I have here. Super cute and gray. This is Emery the elephant. It's beautiful sky blue. And then we have Charlie the puppy that you have. Charlie is another fan favorite. Hugimals feel like holding a little pet on your lap.
It feels like I'm holding an
it.
infant, quite honestly. Like it does. Like, okay, my kids weren't furry, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's a nice
Exactly.
weight. You really do feel the weight of it.
Yeah.
And I love it when you did that. You just like, it's just a big hug.
Right. They hug you back. You don't just hug them, they actually hug you back. And to your point, Carrie, we actually went viral on TikTok for people, just videos of people picking them up for the first time that I would take. And they'd say, oh my God, it feels like holding a baby or an infant or a puppy or a child. And we went viral because you don't expect them to feel like that, you know?
You don't. I was actually really surprised. And the nice thing is they don't throw up or cry on you. It's great,
Exactly.
right?
Good point.
Marina, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do, for bringing more wellness and more hugs and loves into the lives of so many around the world. I can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And for everyone out there maybe thinking of starting something new, it's not too late, do it a little bit, try it behind the scenes, sort of secretly, and see if you like it. It's for you too, to sort of expand your horizons behind the scenes. And if it's working for you, then you'll know.
That's right. So true. I always say your vision is your destiny. As cheesy as that sounds,
Yeah,
when you're
love
given
that.
a vision, I really feel like, it might not be tomorrow, but you're not given a vision without a way to make it happen. And thank you for being such a beautiful example of that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Carrie.
You're so
fun.
welcome. All right, look, my friend, I know that you want to snuggle up with Charlie and Frankie or one of the other Hugimals. So when you go to shopinspired.tv, again, shopinspired.tv, you are going to get a special discount just for our Inspired Living community. You're going to want to snuggle up with one of these bad boys, and they make amazing gifts. So again, go to shopinspired.tv, and thank you for watching this episode of Behind the Brand. I hope you are inspired. Please make sure to like it, share it, subscribe so you don't miss another one. And as always, my friend, remember to keep dreaming it, living it, and being it.